Welcome back to Human Centered Experience. I want to start today with a hard truth that's happening in your boardrooms right now. You're likely making $1 million decisions based on a dataset that is fundamentally broken. We operate in what we call a feedback rich environment. Your customers are talking to you constantly. They're talking in support transcripts, real time chat logs on Reddit, on the Better Business Bureau. But because the data is messy, because it's unstructured, we tend to ignore it. Instead, we retreat to the safety of the surveys. We look at our Net Promoter Score or CSAT score. We run a focus group. Here's the problem. Surveys are increasingly irrelevant. They capture two groups of people, the incredibly happy and the incredibly angry. But the vast middle, the silent majority, goes unheard. These are the customers who are quietly struggling with a feature or who are just satisfied enough to stay, but just annoyed enough to churn when a competitor calls. Today, we're going to dismantle the legacy survey model. We're going to look at AI-driven customer sentiment modeling. We're going to talk about how to move from listening to operational intelligence. And we will look at the framework to calculate the revenue risk of a dissatisfied user. Historically, if you ran a sentiment analysis on your customer data, you got a binary output, positive or negative. Imagine a customer writes this review. The software is powerful, but the mobile app is incredibly slow. A traditional keyword tool looks at that and gets confused. It sees powerful, good, and slow, bad, and flattens it into a neutral score. That is useless to you. A neutral score hides the fire burning in your mobile UX team. This is where aspect-based sentiment analysis, or ABSA, changes the game. ABSA doesn't just read the sentence, it decomposes it. It uses large language models like GPT-4 or BERT to understand context. It separates the feedback into specific themes. In our example, an ABSA model would tag product capability as positive, but mobile usability as high severity negative. This is the nuance we've been missing. Context is everything. These transformer-based models utilize self-attention mechanisms. They understand that a cold drink is positive, but a cold welcome is negative. If you are a leader in this space, your first takeaway is this. If your current tool is only giving you a single sentiment score for a customer interaction, you're flying blind. You need granularity. You need to know what they hate, not just that they hate it. Now, before you go out and buy a new AI platform, we need to talk about your data. There is a concept in data science that we all very well know of, garbage in, garbage out. In sentiment analysis, the equivalent is negativity bias or any sort of bias. Think about your own behavior. When do you leave a review? When do you demand to speak to a manager? When are you angry? Unsatisfied customers are statistically more likely to create data than happy ones. If you train your AI model on your support tickets and your BBB reviews, your model will learn to see the world as a hostile place. It becomes biased towards negativity. Even a mildly positive statement might get flagged as sarcasm or complaint because that's all the model knows. So how do we fix this? The topic we are discussing today highlights a few brilliant strategies. First, on the technical side, data scientists use techniques like SMOTE, synthetic minority oversampling technique. Essentially, they create synthetic happy examples to balance the dataset, teaching the AI to recognize satisfaction just as well as it recognizes anger. But the strategic fix is more interesting. You have to actively hunt for the quiet signals of loyalty. This is called emotional listening. It means analyzing the data you usually throw away, the polite thank yous in a resolve ticket, the positive emoji reactions in your community forum. Speaking of emojis, does your current system handle them? A modern pre-processing pipeline needs a function, often denoted as to map a fire emoji or a heart to an emotional intensity score. If you're stripping out emojis to clean the text, you're stripping out the raw emotional data your customers are giving you. Okay, so you have the data. You have the granular aspect-based sentiment. Now, what do you do with it? This is where most organizations treat sentiment as a dashboard metric. They put a big customer happiness dial on a screen and hope it goes up. Real impact happens when you map sentiment to your service blueprint. Let's distinguish between the two tools here. A customer journey map is the outside-in view. It tells you what the customer feels, say anxiety during the decision phase. A service blueprint is the inside-out view. It tells you why. It maps the internal processes, the front-end actions, and the back-end systems that create that experience. Let's play out a scenario. Your AI detects a spike in high anxiety regarding refunds. That's the journey map layer. You look at the service blueprint for refund processing. You see that while the customer is waiting, the backstage action involves a manual approval from finance that takes 48 hours. The root cause isn't bad support agents. The root cause is a process design flaw. When you overlay sentiment data into a blueprint, you stop blaming people and start fixing systems. You can say, this specific IT dependency is causing 30% of our negative sentiment. That is how you prioritize your engineering backlog. We're heading into the final stretch, and I want to give you the most powerful tool for your next board meeting. We all know the struggle of justifying CX budgets. Empathy is hard to sell to a CFO. Risk is easy to sell. You need to build an ROI bridge. You need to convert feelings into financial metrics. So I'd like to propose a specific formula for this, revenue at risk. It looks like this. Sessions per month is, let's say, the total volume of interactions that's happening on your website, on your app, or whichever way you're interacting with the customer. Team share, the percentage of those sessions where your AI detected a specific pain point, let's say hidden shipping costs. Now, value per session is the next one, where how much is that customer visit worth? Let's run the numbers. Say you have 100,000 sessions a month. Your AI tells you that 10% of those sessions contain frustration about shipping costs. Now, each session is worth $50. That pain point isn't an annoyance. It's a $500,000 monthly liability. When you walk into a meeting with that number, you don't have to beg for resources. You're presenting a business case to protect $500,000 a month. That is how you turn sentiment into strategy. Now, as we wrap up, we're moving from reactive analysis, analyzing what happened yesterday, to predictive sentiment modeling. The best organizations are already doing this. They're using AI to look at a customer's telemetry. 3 late deliveries, 2 unresolved tickets, a drop in login frequency, and predicting anger before the customer ever sends an email. This allows for proactive service recovery. You reach out before they churn. The era of the annual survey is ending. The era of real-time operationalized empathy is here. The technology is ready. The question is, are you? Thank you for listening. Thanks for listening to my podcast. If you found this insightful, please subscribe, share, and check out my recent article on this topic on LinkedIn. As always, feel free to get in touch with me with comments, suggestions, and ideas. I'm Hitesh, and I'll see you next time.